Episode 10 is not built like a regular ending. It feels like the board has already been set, and now all that's left is watching the pieces fall. Every character walking into this episode is carrying unfinished business. Nobody is clean anymore. Nobody is safe. This is the kind of episode where past choices stop being memories and start becoming punishments. What makes this moment different is that there are no small problems left to solve. Every conflict has grown too big. Alliances are weak. Trust is broken. Enemies know too much. When a story reaches this stage, there is no clean escape. Someone always pays the price, and sometimes it's not the person who deserves it the most. This episode feels like the end of a cycle, not just for one character, but for the way things have been done so far. The old rules don't work anymore. Power can't be held the same way. Fear doesn't control people like it used to. Everyone is reacting instead of planning, and that's dangerous. When smart people start acting out of fear, mistakes happen fast. Another reason episode 10 feels heavy is because silence matters more than action. No one is talking too much. Nobody is explaining their plans. That usually means something bad is coming. When characters stop explaining themselves, it's because they already know what they're about to do, and they know there's no turning back. This episode also pushes the idea that survival and legacy are no longer the same thing. Earlier in the story, staying alive was enough. Now, staying alive without losing control, respect, or family feels impossible. Every move costs something. You can save yourself but lose the people around you. Or you can protect someone else and sign your own ending. What truly changes everything is that episode 10 doesn't feel like it wants to answer all questions. Instead, it wants to break things. Break relationships. Break trust. Break the idea that anyone is untouchable. That's why this episode feels dangerous. It's not closing doors gently. It's slamming them shut. This is the point where characters realize they are no longer shaping the game. The game is shaping them. And once that happens, the ending is never kind. When pressure reaches its peak, people stop pretending. Episode 10 lives in that space where masks fall off without warning. Characters who once looked confident now feel unsure. People who acted fearless suddenly hesitate. This isn't weakness. It's reality catching up. The pressure in this episode isn't coming from one enemy or one situation. It's coming from everywhere at once. From the streets, from old deals, from people who were trusted, from choices that seemed smart at the time but now look reckless. This kind of pressure doesn't give anyone time to think. It forces quick decisions, and quick decisions create permanent damage. One of the strongest themes here is regret. Not spoken regret, but silent regret. The kind that shows up in pauses, in looks, in moments where someone almost says something but doesn't. Episode 10 uses these quiet moments to remind us that everyone wishes they could go back and fix one thing, but they can't. Another key element is fear of being replaced. Nobody wants to admit it, but everyone feels it. The fear that the world will keep moving even if they're gone. That someone younger, colder, or smarter is ready to take their place. This fear makes people act out. It makes them do things they wouldn't normally do. And in this episode, that fear drives some of the worst decisions. Trust becomes the most expensive thing in the room. Giving it away is dangerous, but keeping it can be just as deadly. Episode 10 shows how trust isn't broken by big betrayals alone. Sometimes it breaks from silence, from not showing up, from choosing survival over loyalty. What makes this section powerful is how real it feels. There are no big speeches explaining what's happening. The story lets actions speak. A door not opened, a call not answered, a chance to walk away that isn't taken. These small moments stack up until there's no room left to breathe. By the time this pressure reaches its peak, it's clear that not everyone will walk away unchanged. Some people will survive physically but lose everything else. Others may not survive at all. Episode 10 makes one thing clear. Pressure doesn't create monsters. It reveals them. Episode 10 lives in the space between loyalty and survival. And that space is uncomfortable. Loyalty sounds good until it costs you your life. Survival sounds smart until it costs you your soul. This episode forces characters to choose, and there is no option that feels right. What makes loyalty dangerous here is that it's no longer clear who deserves it. People who once earned trust have changed. Circumstances have shifted. Promises were made in a different world, and that world no longer exists. Holding onto old loyalty in a new reality can get you killed. Survival, on the other hand, feels cold in this episode. Choosing yourself means letting others fall. It means watching people you care about face consequences alone. Episode 10 shows how survival without loyalty leaves people alive but empty, breathing but disconnected. This tension plays out in quiet ways. Nobody announces their choice. Nobody explains their reasons. The choices are shown through actions. Who someone protects, who they leave behind, who they warn, and who they don't. These decisions feel small in the moment, but become massive by the end. Another layer here is guilt. Even when characters choose survival, they don't feel proud. They carry guilt with them, knowing they crossed a line they can't uncross. Episode 10 doesn't judge these choices. It simply shows the cost. This section also highlights how loyalty is often one-sided. Some people stay loyal longer than they should. Others break loyalty the moment it stops benefiting them. This imbalance creates pain that lasts longer than any fight. What makes this episode powerful is that it doesn't give easy answers. It doesn't say loyalty is right or survival is wrong. It shows that in this world, both paths hurt. And sometimes the most dangerous choice is trying to hold onto both. By the end of this section, it becomes clear that no one walks away clean. Whether they choose loyalty or survival, something precious is lost. Episode 10 makes sure of that. Every great ending has a moment where everything changes. And episode 10 builds slowly toward it. You can feel it coming. The tension tightens. Conversations shorten. Movement becomes careful. This is the calm before something breaks. What makes this turning point powerful is that it doesn't come with warning music or loud signals. It arrives quietly, almost suddenly. One decision leads to another, and before anyone can stop it, the direction of the story shifts. This moment isn't just about action. It's about realization. Characters understand too late that they misjudged someone, or trusted the wrong person, or waited too long. That realization hits harder than any bullet ever could. Episode 10 uses this turning point to show that control is an illusion. People who thought they were in charge realize they never truly were. The streets don't care about plans. The game doesn't care about intentions. It only responds to moves. After this moment, nothing can go back to how it was. Even if characters survive, the world around them has changed. Relationships are damaged. Fear replaces confidence, and the future no longer looks stable. This is where legacy truly comes into focus. Not the legacy people wanted, but the one they created through their actions. Episode 10 reminds us that legacy isn't built at the end. It's built long before, choice by choice, mistake by mistake. By the time this episode reaches its final moments, one truth is clear. The game continues, but not everyone gets to stay in it the same way. Some rise, some fall, and some disappear into the shadows, leaving behind questions that will haunt what comes next. Episode 10 moves like a tightening grip. The pressure doesn't explode all at once. It slowly closes in, forcing every character to face the weight of what they've been hiding. Secrets that once felt protected now feel dangerous. Information is no longer power alone. It's a weapon that can destroy the person holding it just as easily as the target. What makes this episode different is that no one is comfortable anymore. People who once spoke with confidence now choose their words carefully. Others stay silent, not because they are calm, but because they are afraid of saying the wrong thing. In this world, one sentence can start a chain of events that cannot be stopped. The pressure comes from time running out. There are no delays left. No more waiting for the perfect moment. Decisions that were pushed aside now demand answers. Every character knows that if they don't act now, someone else will act for them. And that loss of control is terrifying. Another important layer is how fear changes behavior. Characters begin to assume betrayal even before it happens. Trust becomes thin. Every glance feels suspicious. Every delay feels planned. Episode 10 shows how fear creates distance between people who once relied on each other. Not because they want to turn away, but because they feel they have no choice. This section also reveals how the past refuses to stay buried. Old deals, old grudges, and old mistakes rise to the surface when the pressure peaks. Things that were forgiven before are no longer ignored. People remember who hurt them, who used them, and who walked away when things got hard. Episode 10 reminds us that nothing in this world is ever truly forgotten. What makes the pressure unbearable is that everyone believes they are running out of options. When people feel trapped, they stop thinking clearly. They react instead of plan. That's when the worst decisions are made, not out of evil, but out of panic. This episode leans heavily into that reality.